was going to use this one. Good morning, everyone. Hello, beautiful people. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the International Women's Conference. We have a beautiful opening designed for you. So if you can please take your seats. We're going to have enough time to network and mingle. Right now we have a beautiful introduction opening that was specially designed for this moment. Thank you so much.
Everyone in the world has gone to bed one night or another with fear or pain or loss or disappointment. And yet each of us has awakened, arisen, somehow made our ablution, seen other human beings, and said, "Morning, how are you? Fine, thanks, and you?" It's amazing. Wherever that abides in the human being, there is the nobleness of the human spirit. Despite it all, black and white, Asian, Spanish, Native American, pretty, plain, thin, fat, vowed or celibate, we rise.
And I'll rise up again, I'll rise up in spite of the age. And I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up. Rise like today, I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. And I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may try me the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you set with me? 'Cause I walk like I got oil wells pumped in my living room? Just like moons and like sun, with the certainty of tides. Just like hopes springing high, still, I'll rise.
Rise up, girl.
Did you want to see me broken? Bald head and low eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, reaching by my soul for prize. Does my hoarseness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes. You can leave with your hatefulness, but still like air, I'll rise. On the heights of history shade, I rise. On the paths that's rooted in pain, I rise. I am a black ocean, leaping and wide. Welling and swelling, I gain the tide, leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a neighborhood that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing a gift my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. We rise up again, we rise up in spite of the age. And we rise up, and we'll do it 1,000 times again.
One more time, one more time. Thank you, Cindy. That was beautiful. Still, I rise. And today's theme is leading women. And as we think about leading women, we all have to rise on those occasions, right? When the journey seems a little bit tough, we still have to rise and show up. So welcome to the International Women's Conference. My name is Kamisha Superville. I will be your trusted MC for today. And of course, we would not be here without a fabulous, amazing person. I think we all know who that is, right? Just in case we don't know, let me let y'all know. Dr. Neva Alexander is the CEO of Nevalliance. She is the co-director of the Ascend Long Island program here at Hofstra University. It exemplifies transformative leadership in education, entrepreneurship, and professional development. Dr. Neva Alexander is a visionary. She's founded the National Education Venture Alliance, Neva, N-E-V-A, underscoring her devotion to equipping students for academic and professional triumphs. Renowned as an educator, speaker, and author, Dr. Neva profoundly influences various business sectors, delivering insights on startup strategies to women empowerment. Her captivating webinars and seminars have established her as a pivotal figure in the business community. May we all rise up for this phenomenal lady.
Thank you. I didn't know you was going to do the entire bio. Welcome. Am I loud enough? I'm going to remove this flag. I like it, but I'm going to remove it for a second. Good morning again. So, you know, guys, every year during the International Women's Conference, I've always thought about what I'm going to speak about. What exactly am I going to share with you guys? What would be impactful? The theme is actually leading ladies, or rather the word ladies, not women, ladies, right? And it reminds me of a story, a real life story. When I was in the Middle East, and I always draw back to these stories, in Saudi Arabia, one of my students, she wanted to interview me for her project, and I got all excited because she's mentioned I'm her hero. She looked up to me, and I'm like, what? Yeah. So I told her the room that I was going to be in because I was helping another student with a project. And she came in and she started to interview me, asked me questions about, where I went to school, da-da-da-da-da. And I'm answering. And she's like, Miss, I really, really, really look up to you. I was like, thank you. Voila. I look up to you. I was like, all right. She was like, I want to be just like you. And I said, thank you. Of course, that make you mushy, right? Aww. Then she said, I don't want to get married. I said, wait, what happened now? Now again, I'm in Saudi Arabia. I don't want to be viewed as a feminist. I do not want to lead this young lady astray to tell her not to get married. I said, what do you mean you don't want to get married? She said, well, everyone that gets married, they don't become successful women. And I'm like, that's not true. She said, okay, prove it. I said, this girl just gave me an assignment. So, I was like, Michelle Obama, because that was, she was like, yeah, but she had to stop what she was doing. I said, no. And I tried to make excuses, and not just excuses, but really try to show her story. And I told her, you know what? It's a weekend. I'll get back to you with that. Which also prompted me to write the book, Female's Guide to Understanding Leadership, right? But the thought of some young individuals, women, girls growing up is your life, your career may be delayed if you are married. And, some would say, well, that is true, but then you have phenomenal women who are married, who are doing the thing, right? And they're doing fine. Can I get a clap for that? So, no, I'm still not married. but it's okay. It's coming, right? But guys, I thank you for being here today. Oh man, it's been a ride. 2017, I started, and I've had the energy to go on because of some great individuals. Individuals I do want to mention today who not necessarily are in the room, but they have been with me. I know I don't see Carla Hamilton here, but she will be here, my day one. She will be here later on. Today's her birthday, so heads up for that one, yeah. And I have LIAC, Long Island African American Chamber of Commerce, Phil Andrews. He's been, when I sat with him 2017, I said I had this idea, and he was like, actually 2016, I sat with him. He was like, yeah, you could do it, and just kept going, right? And there are later individuals that joined. Street Hype newspaper, been around with me. He's not here, he's actually helping me to do runs at the moment. See how dedicated individuals are. Yes. Back I have Netstruck Media, don't want to leave her out. Sharon, thank you so much. She came 2018, saw what I was doing and stuck with me. So thank you. CBC as well. I mean, yeah, hi, you're there. So, and I know I'm like trying to remember everyone, and if I don't remember you, know that I love you, and thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's see. Sister of Excellence, she just did a presentation, and she's actually going through a lot right now, but she came and present, right? So just let you know. And EBK, Carmisha has been doing some runs, getting individuals in this room, right? So I appreciate you all, and I know I'm like, I don't have a list in front of me, but again, thank you. And thank you to everyone in that back table, the sponsors, guys. Because truth be told, if they did not sponsor, if they're not here, you know, Laura, I almost forgot you. Oh my gosh. But you know I love you, right, Laura? And I got a call, an email one day, Claire Bridge. They're like, I want to support you. And I'm like, what? Thank you. Thank you, guys, everyone. We will go around later on and introduce the individual sponsors, but make sure you visit their table. We have amazing individuals here exhibiting. So please, when we have the chance, when we get a break, do support them. At this time, again, thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. And the next speaker, which Carmisha is going to introduce, I just want to give her a shout out before she speaks. She came in from Texas. Is a good friend of mine. Carmisha's going to introduce her properly, but I just want to say thank you for taking that flight and supporting me. I know her for 20 years now. Wow. But we're not going to talk about age. We're still young, right? All right, thank you so much. Carmisha, it's your turn.
All right, another round of applause to Dr. Neva Alexander. And throughout the day, of course, if you are using social media, if you're on social media, you can use the hashtag. There's a dedicated hashtag, which is IWC. That's I as in island, W as in Wyoming, C as in confirmation, 2024, Hofstra. Okay? So you can use that social media to follow along the festivities. I have the honor of introducing an amazing young woman that we met virtually, right? When Dr. Neva hosted this event through the pandemic. Talk about determination. And it was so beautiful. So we are going to be listening to Felicia Smith. She's an inspirational speaker, author, podcast speaker as well. Felicia's voice, excuse me. Felicia's very well distinguished. The information is also in the book. Felicia has years of experience working with individuals, couples, and families, helping clients overcome mental health challenges ranging from PTSD to depression and relationship issues at Relate to Clinic. Felicia Smith, please welcome.
Good morning, ladies. Good morning. I'm going to pull up a quick presentation. Thank God for tech support. There we go. Again, good morning, wonderful ladies who all attended this amazing conference. Let's start with giving Dr. Neva a hand of applause. Matter of fact, let's stand up. Let's stand up. Let's take a moment, stand up, and thank Miss Dr. Neva Alexander for this wonderful, amazing initiative, this conference. She brought many of us leading ladies in this room today. So I just want to stop by for just a moment, but also give yourselves a hand, okay? This is Saturday morning. Remember, we could be sleeping in, but this is Saturday morning. So obviously you came to get something in this room. Today we are talking about valiant leading ladies. And as a Texas licensed professional counselor, a relationship wellness coach, I came all the way just to talk to the queens in the room. How many queens do I have in the room this morning? That's right, that's right. I came to talk to the leader in the room this morning. I came to inspire the entrepreneur in the room. How many entrepreneurs do we have in the room? All right. Now, a little bit of the work that I do in just a second of my little small introduction compared to a lot of amazing things that we have going on in this room. It is true, I'm a licensed professional counselor, but the best of my work, I get to talk to amazing women who are overcoming and recovering from relationship adversities. But one of the most common themes of that recovery process is helping ladies to figure out, who am I? And what am I supposed to be doing? And a lot of times I find in the work that I'm doing is they are already leading ladies. However, they may not have had anybody to inspire them, encourage them, or motivate them to draw that out of them. Guess what? Each and every one of you in this room are a leading lady. But I would even go as far as saying you are a valiant leading lady. Does everybody know what valiant means? Somebody said great. Anybody else? Brave. Brave, absolutely. Of the three things, a valiant leading lady is defined as a courageous leader. She's bold. She's brave. And she is heroic. Do I have any heroes in the room? I have any bold ladies in the room? I have any courageous ladies in the room? Yes, I think all of us could clap to that, right? All of us. Think about it. How many of you, by show of hands, decided to start your business? First of all, how many entrepreneurs I got in the room? How many want to be entrepreneurs in the room? Got a couple of y'all. How many people really, really comfortable with what you're doing at work every day? Okay, so we got some leaders in the room. How many of you lead at work? Okay, I'm in the right room. The right room. But let's think about this. As a valiant leading lady, we have to be bold, heroic. We have to be brave. So at work, we have to be brave. We have to be bold as an entrepreneur to start your business. How about write that book? How about the movie script? Or whatever you're doing, you have to be bold, you have to be brave, you have to be courageous. But you have to have purpose, right? You have to have that get up. The young lady that started the poem, that is absolutely correct. We have to rise. And I'm going to talk to you about that in just a second because As a valiant leading lady myself, I would go ahead and claim that we have to rise every single day because guess what? Other people are depending on us to rise up. Is that not correct? Who do we have depending on us to rise up? Our kids. Ooh, yes, ma'am, valiant leading lady. Next generation. Because if we don't rise, then what happens? They fall. No guidance. Anybody else? We have to rise, right? So in our rising, why don't we be happy about our rising? Get up, put on your makeup. Even if you don't feel like putting your makeup on, you know that you still have to rise up. Because as a hero, somebody else is depending on it. But guess what? You are depending on yourself rising up. The lady in the back is saying, yes, I got to get up because I need to get up because I need to take care of myself. Correct. So, a few things with our rising up. We have to be bold in our rising to sometimes be our own savior. Most often, we need to be our own savior first. How many people have been told you have to put other people behind you? No, take care of so-and-so first. Why don't you, yeah, I know you need to go do this, but worry about that later. You need to take care of yourself. How many of us have been told that? Or it's selfish to put yourself first? By a show of hands, she said yes. How many of us have been told it's selfish to put yourself first? As a counselor, I would tell you as women in this room, as queens in this room, as entrepreneurs in this room, as valiant leading ladies in this room, you have to put yourself first. If you don't, just like they tell you when you get on a flight, you have to put your oxygen mask on first. If not, everything that is attached to you is not going to survive. Everything. That's you as a valiant leader understanding, I need to take care of myself. While I'm leading, you still qualify to take care of yourself. If you don't, you will not be rising. Your vision is not going to rise. Your mission is not going to rise. Your family may be depending on you, and they're not going to rise. How many of us have spouses that depend on us to rise up? Quite a lot, right? So we have to get up. You ask me, okay, well, yeah, we got to get up. We got to rise. How do I rise when I don't feel like it? Or I need support? How do we do this? A lot of times we do it regardless. I'm going to tell you about a little coping skill called SHAPE. SHAPE, for notes, for those of you that would like to take some notes, SHAPE stands for structure. Number one, structure your priorities as you rise up. On those days when you have to essentially, you know, as valiant leading ladies, we wear this cape. You can't see this cape behind me, but we are a hero, right? How many of us as heroes, we have to put this cape on every single day and leave out of the door and go take care of this list of responsibilities? As a business owner, you have a list of responsibilities. Dr. Neva had a list of responsibilities today to make sure that we all could be in this room. That happens every single day as leaders, as mothers, teachers, professors, everything that we are called to do as far as our business life, our personal life, we have to get up. So let's go back to SHAPE. SHAPE is an acronym that as a counselor and as a wellness coach, I want you to take from today. Structure your priorities. What absolutely has to be done today? Is there anything we can put off for tomorrow? Is there anything that you can put off until next week? But consider, structure your priorities today. H, I would say, ask yourself, what type of help do you need to make sure that you continue your mission and your vision and your purpose and your plans? But I would say hire out to my business people in the room. Even as a leader at work, who can you delegate this task to, right? How many of us struggle with delegation? Yeah, but it's a healthy thing to do. Hire out or delegate. The A is going to be assess. Let's assess the situation. Assess your situation when you are, again, we have this invisible cape, remember, that we walk around with as heroes, saviors. As a woman, as a leader, as a valiant leading lady, we have a lot of responsibilities, and that's great. But again, we want to make sure when we take our cape off and send it to the cleaners, we want to make sure we're taking care of ourselves, so we what? Structure priorities. Hire out. Assess your situation to see what can I do about what's happening right now that may be making me feel so worn out and weary, but structure, hire out, assess. Your P is going to come down to plan. What plans do you need to make, or what plans do you need to adjust? What do you need to adjust about what you have going on? For the entrepreneurs in the room, you may need to adjust or scale, better yet, your business, right? You may need to adjust some things to accommodate the leverage that you have within yourself, or even your team that you have available to work on your purpose and your plan. Whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a business owner, whichever, you want to make sure that you are structuring your priorities, hire out, or ask for help. How about let's use ask for help? A is assess the situation, and for my faith-filled people, planning is great, but prayer is amazing. How many people would say prayer is probably the number one thing? That's right, come on, let's not be afraid. Right above is the number one source of help, so we want to go to prayer. While we're planning, pray, but pray first, and then work your plan, because they are coexisting, and they are amazing as a team. The last but not least, you want to execute your plan. But as you pray, ask God or ask your God to help you with direction as far as executing the plan. More importantly, when we get weary and worn out as valiant leading ladies, as a leading lady, you take the time to assess, hey, I need some help. Hey, I need some time. I need to send my cape to the cleaners, which may mean I need time to go recuperate. While you're recuperating, think about what Miss Maya Angelou told us. Like the young lady presented to us, you may shoot me with words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with hatefulness, but still, like the air, as valiant leading ladies, we have to do what? We have to rise. Let's say it together 3 times. We will rise. We will rise. We will rise. When you get tired, when you get weary, when you get worn, get in shape. And that doesn't mean going to the gym. That means just taking a minute to pause, take your cape off, and let's get in shape. Ladies, you are valiant. You are bold. You are brave. You are amazing. Every day that you can, rise up. Thank you so much thank you for allowing me to be here today.
Thank you so much. Another round of applause. Felicia, you actually on schedule. Yeah, you have 9 more minutes. So before we go into the next panel, I took some notes, did you? Yes. Okay. So we want to have some interactions. What are some takeaways from her presentation? Some takeaways. Yes, please. Absolutely. Prioritizing. Absolutely. Another takeaway? You can shout it out. Another takeaway? Yes, young lady. Assessing the situation. Yes. Love it. My takeaway was delegating. All right, we can talk about that because most of us are business owners, mothers, sisters, all those different labels. We, ladies and gents, we have to learn how to delegate our responsibilities. We cannot do it all alone. We cannot, right? So delegate. Prayer, she spoke about prayer. Thank you so much. So many times we don't want to talk about the spiritual aspect of the journey, but it's very imperative. Yeah? Awesome, awesome. All right. So I have the honor and pleasure, and I'm excited for this panel discussion. A few of my favorite ladies. my also day one, because I actually do have a day one when I started my career many, many years ago. So it's a very full circle moment that I'm able to collaborate with this young lady today. All right, so we are going to have our first panel celebrating diverse women's stories in the media. Celebrating diverse women's stories in the media, embracing every voice. This panel will be led by the beautiful, the amazing Sharon Lead, publicity strategist. Please make your way up, the panelists as well. And while they're making their way up, of course, a reminder, as you go out through the day, the hashtag for social media is hashtag IWC2024 Hofstra. That's HOFSTRA. Of course, we invite you, certainly, to follow Nevalliance on all social media platforms so that way you can stay up to date as to what's taking place and the different events that she hosts throughout the year.
Thank you so much, Carmisha. Good morning, everyone. Is it still morning? Yes, it is. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm excited to be the moderator for today's panel. And why is because I love to deal with the media. I have my bosses here, Dr. Sandra Scott, who's going to be speaking later on. And when I first met her, the first thing that I did was, I'm going to get you into the media more than you have ever known. And I was able to do that and still do that. So when she thinks media, she thinks me. So when I was asked by Dr. Neva to please moderate this particular panel, I was excited. And the ladies that are here are amazing. I know you have the journal. Please read their bios. But these women here are amazing. Before we even start, let's just give them a round of applause before they introduce themselves. So I'm going to have them introduce themselves because when we spoke prior, as a publicity strategist, my goal is to make sure that you give your wow factor. Meaning when you talk about yourself, you want to leave a lasting impression with someone. And when we spoke last night, each one of them did that for me. So when I get excited when I hear the wow factor when someone introduces themselves. So I'm actually going to start with Summer Nasser. She is the Executive Director for Press Credentials at the Mayor's Office for Media and Entertainment.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. I work for the Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment. I lead their Press Credentials Office, which is the newest division under the umbrella. And basically, we have taken over the press credentialing for New York City. And what that means is we facilitate the news gathering process for journalists who are going out into the field to cover stories. And so those are breaking news stories, those are planned events sometimes, and most importantly, press conferences where they are going to gather information, maybe on a council hearing or a hearing, for instance, upcoming Trump, that's been making my job a little bit of a nightmare. But yeah, so we do operate a little bit on the news cycle, but not so much. But yeah, we give basically media folks the right and the permission to cross New York City official barriers to be able to gather that news for their stories.
Now that's big. We need to give her a round of applause because when you think about individuals coming through at specific events, she's the one that says yes or no. Okay? So I want you guys to remember that. How many people know Newsday? Everybody should raise their hand, Newsday, especially you live out here at Long Island, Newsday. We have here Rochelle Bishop-Sleets, the managing editor at Newsday. Rochelle.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to be here with amazing women and our allies. Like she said, I am the managing editor at Newsday. I've been here about a year, as I think I had an anniversary about a week and a half ago. My job is to manage a newsroom of 250. We are still a very large newsroom, despite what's happening in our industry across the country, to report and tell the stories of that Long Island, that the Long Island communities, all communities care about. It's our job to make sure that we tell the full stories of these communities. I'm happy to be here and to share the importance of news gathering and coverage, and the importance of sharing our stories and telling them in all the perspectives that we have that represent this island. Thank you.
And Rochelle, can you just mention, you mentioned something last night when we were talking, that you were the first.
I am the first Black woman to lead Newsday's newsroom in the managing editor capacity. Prior to that, I was talking about how there's still too many firsts last night, so it is important to recognize that. And we are in 2024 and still to this day. Prior to that, I was the news director, first Black person and woman to be news director at the Chicago Tribune. So a lot of work and a lot of responsibility, but I don't take it lightly.
Yeah, and you know what? It's a shame. In this day and age, it's still the first. But we're glad that we have people like you that is making that mark. And now we have Kristen Johnson, lifestyle editor at the Cosmopolitan magazine. Cosmopolitan magazine.
Hi there, my name is Kristen Johnson. As mentioned, I'm the lifestyle editor at Cosmopolitan magazine. So I cover all the things from health and wellness to home, travel, food, cocktails, money, career, literally anything that will help Gen Z and millennial women live their best, fulfilled, sexy, thrilling life. Like, that's what I touch. And I also, anything that is really like sensitive or nuanced in nature, I handle that too. So I edit a lot of personal essays around really tender moments in people's lives. Like I mentioned, I also do a lot of health content, and that takes a very high level of expertise. And so I wrote a health feature for our September issue on weed consumption during pregnancy, and I also just edited one on fentanyl and party pills in our current issue, in our spring issue, so check it out, go get it if you are interested in that story. And I also dabble in a little bit of culture writing, and so I've had really cool opportunities to interview bold name celebrities like Queen Latifah and Issa Rae and Megan Thee Stallion, and so my day is full a lot of the time, and one moment I am talking about death and despair and drugs, and the next I am telling you the best rugs for your living room. So I do a lot, and I've had one of my biggest achievements to this day is being able to write Cosmo's first ever digital cover story featuring Chloe Bailey. So I'm just so excited to be here with y'all today.
Yes, thank you, thank you. And doesn't she look like a little kid? I mean, for all of the things that you have accomplished, thank you so much for the great work that you're doing. And now, last but not least, for the introduction, Miss Danessa Myrick's, founder of Danessa Myrick's beauty line. And I'm going to let you speak, but then I got something to say if she doesn't say it.
Hello, good morning, everyone. I just have to say this is like amazing sitting on this panel with all of you. I feel so empowered. So thank you. My name is Danessa Myrick. As she mentioned, I own the beauty brand Danessa Myrick's Beauty. I'm the founder and CEO of that brand. And I think my perspective today will be a little different in talking about how how I've used media as an entrepreneur and how impactful that has been in my career journey and the journey of my brand. I started my journey in beauty as a single mom of 2 with an unemployment check in the early 2000s, and I've been like the little engine that could ever since. I've been using digital media as a way to expand my business, first with digital education in beauty. In the early, I'd say about the mid 2000s, around 2012, 2013, I really leaned into social media as a way to grow the brand. We have so many entrepreneurs in the room, as you probably know, money can be an issue. And because there were no finances for marketing or advertising, I really leaned into free spaces in digital media. And that really has been the leverage that I've used throughout all of these years to grow the brand. Now we are recently sold in Sephora. We're in Sephora's all throughout the US and Canada. Thank you. And most recently in the UK, and our little baby brand that started with a $250 unemployment check is now a multi-million-dollar brand in one of the most elite beauty spaces.
Yes, yes. And you heard what she said. She used social media to leverage her brand to make it to where it is now. That is powerful. So, you know, the thing is that media has evolved from the time where my mentor, that I call her the OG in PR, you know, when you had to have a fax machine and that's it, and a phone call and you had to run to the station. Whereas now you're leveraging the social media platform. So I want to congratulate you for utilizing that, making your business to where it is to go for your goals and your dreams. So let's start with the first question, which is with Summer. The portrayal of women in media can perpetrate harmful stereotypes and reinforce societal norms. How can media professionals, including journalists, content creators, and editors, work toward the challenge stereotype to promote positive representation of diverse women and foster inclusive storytelling that reflects the richness in women's experience?
I think it's a struggle that we continue to have, and it's important that journalists take on the responsibility to prioritize these diverse representation. Thank you. So firstly, one important thing is to seek out diverse populations that you are telling these stories about. And secondly, recognizing that women are not, women's stories are not a one-size-fits-all. And so when you do go and report on women's stories that have a woman's perspective, to really look at that woman's perspective. And the best way to do that is to let the woman actually tell her own story, so that you're using the appropriate language, making sure you're avoiding language that is stereotypical, and also, counterbalancing the negative narratives by seeking out those great stories about accomplishment and amplifying those stories, so that what we do see is not one-sided and always negative.
So you say storytelling. Storytelling is a key factor. Every woman has a different story. No one has the same. It's like a fingerprint.
Correct.
Everyone is different. I'm pretty sure each one of you have a story to tell, to whereas you kind of break down that myth of, what women are thinking, especially with you, Danessa, and going into business, and people probably were telling you, there's so many makeup lines and beauty lines out here. Why are you deciding to do this now? And your story is what really changes everything. And that's what I really want people to understand. These women up here is really making sure that the story is being told. And the story is very, very important. Did anyone want to chime in terms of with the story and telling and Danessa?
I think you hit it right on the head when you said that how important our stories are. I think, the thing that resonates with me is that I didn't necessarily see the possibility of me in the spaces that I was operating in, because I couldn't find that other single mom with 2 kids who started a brand, who was successful, to know that that was possible for me, right? And so as I travel in my journey now through the brand, what I hear often is, because I see you, I know it's possible for me. And that's the power that we have, and that's the power of our stories. So, yeah.
Absolutely. It's relatability. Each one of these ladies here have a story that someone can relate to. With you, Rochelle, the first black woman Newsday's been around for God knows how long.
Yeah.
And
Oh, well,
you know,
decades.
yeah, you know, so when you think about that, the story, to be related. So this is something that we each want to make sure that everybody understands. Did you wanted to?
Yeah, I wanted to say that it's really important to find a support network to identify people that you want to that you know are in the positions that you want to be in. And honestly, as diverse women, there aren't a lot of us in a lot of these sectors, but we are there. We are there. It's going to take some work, but we are there. And I was talking to my husband earlier this morning. He's like, if we can't find ourselves, then how are our allies going to find us, right? So we have to make sure that we connect with each other.
Definitely. And hold the mic. You're next. Your question is next. Research shows a significant gender gap in leadership positions within media organizations. How can we break the glass ceiling for women from diverse backgrounds and ensuring equitable representation in decision-making roles, including executive positions and boardrooms?
Okay, I'm going to speak to breaking the ceiling in media, but how many of you have broken the ceiling in your areas? Raise your hands. Amazing. Please clap for that. So, number one, diversity in leadership in the C-suite is everyone's responsibility. We can't keep putting that responsibility on Black people, Latino people, Asian. We can't put that on there. It's not our responsibility solely. And honestly, still in many sectors and businesses in this nation, a lot of the people leading, a lot of people who make the decisions to put leadership in place still don't look like us, you know, so that's just hands down. That said, in order to break the ceiling, I'm still climbing the ladder here, you know, I'm not there yet. You know, I'm almost there, but I'm not there yet. But what I found in this process is that you have to have a really strong work ethic. Many of us have the skills, the know-how to be in these positions, we're just not afforded the opportunity. But when that time does come, we want to make sure that we're ready. We're ready to take it on. And in order to do that, you also have to have a support network. In our field, there are not many Black women on the masthead. As a matter of fact, I just helped found a group last year called Black Girls Masthead, and that's as a support network. We created this group. We meet monthly. We have dinners when we can, and we talk about the things that need to happen in the newsroom, our positions in it. We've even brought in an executive coach, you know, to help us through some of these issues that we face, not only as women, but also as Black women. There are about 30 of us in that group across the nation, and the masthead means that you're usually in an editing leadership position or even in the C-suite as far as a vice president of a company. So we have women who are at higher levels who help coach those of us who are still coming up. And our job, too, is to make sure that when we're in leadership positions, we are looking out. We're looking beyond ourselves to see who is next, who can we train up to take our place. I had to pause there because that's really important. We're not going to break ceilings, continue to break ceilings, unless we identify those folks who can and should be in positions of leadership and make decisions that affect all of us.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Kristen. Discrimination plays a significant role in shaping women's experience in media. How can we address the unique obstacles faced by women who belong to marginalized communities, such as women of color, LGBTQ+ women, and women with disabilities, in accessing equal opportunities and representation in the media?
Yeah. When I think about access to opportunities, I immediately think about internships. So, in my industry, hiring managers need to see writing samples from reputable outlets in order for you to even get your foot in the door. And so an internship in my space is kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because once you get there, you have access and you can, like if I have an intern at Cosmo, they're sitting next to me every day, they're learning from me, they're in meetings with me, they're with the top brass, they're in a building with all these other huge legacy media brands, so they can hustle in that space to long-term create an avenue, a trajectory for themselves. But the flip side to that is that you need access to get an internship. So if you are, let's say, a low-income journalism student or a first-gen college student, and you are in Missouri or in Illinois, where I went to college, and you land your dream internship in New York City, where all the huge magazines are, and like, who's gonna pay for that flight from Bumbletown, Missouri to New York City? Who's gonna pay for your rent in New York City? Who's gonna pay for your food, right, to sustain you that entire time? So I think like we are beyond the conversation of like paying interns. I think like we can all agree that like interns should get paid. I think the next step for companies and for brands is to like create a fund, a scholarship, some sort of stipend to support those students in those positions to really create equitable opportunities for them. Just to illustrate with a quick story, like the power of an internship. So I was an Essence magazine intern almost a decade ago. And last year when I got promoted, my boss from that time sent me a bottle of champagne to my desk on my first day. A decade ago, I was an Essence intern. My boss from a decade ago sent me a congratulations present, right? She had no direct correlation to my promotion, right? But when I was an intern, I sat next to her in her office, and she literally, I watched her do exactly what I do today in my current job. And she talked me through, this is why I'm doing this is why I'm changing this language, this is why this display has to look like this. And so she didn't have a direct correlation, but that experience set me up for my current success. And so I think that with creating those equal opportunities for students in positions like that can create the avenue and the trajectory that they want to go down.
That's great. Internship is so important. I know I started out with my internship, my past life, the DA's office, and I started as an intern working at going to school at John Jay, and it led to me, running a department. So, when you're sitting with someone who actually pays attention to you and wants you to win, that internship is key. And I get it, sometimes we don't have the funding to do it, then that's where the community comes in and we can help. And that's where, we really need to dig deep and see exactly how is it we can help students here that is interested in particular industries that we're in to get them those type of internships. So thank you so much. And that leads into our next question with Ms. Danessa. With mentorship and sponsorship programs have shown to be effective in advancing women in careers to various industries. How can we establish a mentorship initiative that specifically supports women in media or business, providing guidance, networking opportunities, and advocacy to navigate and overcome barriers to success?
I love this question so much, and I'm actually flashbacking to the last presenter, Felicia Smith. I'm sorry, I forgot your last name, but she said something really powerful when she was like, we get to that point where we need to ask ourselves the question, who am I and what am I supposed to be doing? And then when you answer that question and you look up and there's no one to support you in that journey, that's when things get really scary. I heard someone say one time, we're most equipped to serve the person we once were. And it's a really powerful statement, and I think if I think about the journey that I have had as an entrepreneur and all those touch points and things that I had to figure out, all the hard knocks, all the hard learnings, and I think about who's the next Danessa Myrick's, right? And I think about like what they're thinking about and what their needs are. And so for much of my journey, I've seen the importance of being able to reach back. And mentorship has been a really big part of what I've done, even on the smallest scale. I had a conversation with somebody just before we went on stage who's starting a lash brand. And we had a few minutes to interact, and I was able to share like what were some of the touch points for me. So community, we all have mentioned it, it's super important. Really thinking about like what can your contribution be on whatever scale that is. Mentoring, like I think I have more mentorship programs than I've ever had jobs in my life. And it's at every scale. There's a mentoring program that I have called the Angels Program, and I think it's up to 500 people right now. And it's people who are just really leaning into entrepreneurship in the beauty space, and I'm teaching them how to use social media to do that. So it's like 500 people a year. I also have another mentorship program that I'm involved in called iArtist, which is really focused on entrepreneurs, because that's a very specific journey, people who want to build a brand. And I know that even though, like you mentioned, I'm not exactly where I want to be, I'm not at the end, there's a lot that I've experienced throughout the journey that I can impact someone else in doing. I think we have a responsibility to do that, especially if we want to advocate for change. The best way to do that is to be the change you want to see, right? And if we're looking to empower women, see more leaders in more spaces, then we have to create the space for them to be there. And you have no idea how answering a simple question, a very specific question for someone, can change the trajectory of their career, their business, their, a yes or a no. Like, it can be simple, it can be 10 minutes, it can have a huge impact. So I think if we all just asked ourselves the question, like, who can I be that for on any level, it can make a huge difference on a grand scale.
Thank you so much. Let's give them a round of applause. So I know we are close to our time. We might have maybe like 1 or 2 minutes. Does anyone we could take one question if anyone has a question. No one? You guys knocked it out the ballpark. Good. Oh, there is? Okay. Yes. Mm-hmm.
How can we best be your allies?
Oh, okay. Who would like to answer that?
The first best thing to do is to listen. The second best thing to do is to create opportunity. The next best thing to do is to ensure that we have the tools that we need to succeed.
Great. Can we have one more? Okay, we'll take one more.
Hi, this question is for Vanessa and Christian. Christian, you've worked in multiple roles throughout your career and you're quite successful. You've mentioned that one of the imperative tools to foster support in our community is through internship. And Vanessa, you talk about also mentorship, where you've held multiple mentorship positions as opposed to professional positions. For beyond the realm of mentorship, how does one develop a sense of direction when their resources are limited, their external resources are limited? How does one foster a sense of direction?
That's a good question. Think it? You want to take it?
You want to go first?
If you have something, you can.
Okay.
Yeah,
that was a stumper. I think if I said raise your hand if you've been at a point where you lacked resources but you were still able to push through, like, how many people would be able to raise their hand? I mean, it's pretty much the whole room. I think we've all been in that space, and that it's going to be that way in the beginning, and it's going to be that way in every part of the journey. And I think one of the first things to do is just to realize that's part of it, right? And when you realize that's part of it, you can get beyond looking at it as a barrier, and you look at it as part of the process. And I think just clearing that space will make all the difference, because now you start looking for, okay, so what does exist? And I think, and I've suffered through this too as an entrepreneur, it's so easy to make a list of all the things you don't have. I mean, that's the easiest. I can list 1,000 things right now, but the thing that we don't always spend the time on is what do I have, right? Who is around me, small, big, whatever. And when you start focusing in on that list of things that you do have access to, then you can really start dreaming and building.
Yeah, I love that, Vanessa, of thinking about what you do have. And so I immediately go internal, okay, what do I want? What is my dream? And I'm going to tell anybody who wants to listen, even if they don't want to listen, I'm going to tell them my dream, because I don't know who someone knows, right? So I remember, obviously, my mom knows my entire life and all my dreams. And she, when I graduated, she was standing at the hotel checkout, and it was, graduation time, so a lot of parents were around, and she's very, very personable. So she started chatting up this random person at the checkout, and it turned out he was the talent director for the company I now work at. Wow. And so what happened, my mom advocated for me. Oh, my daughter just graduated from Medill, one of the top journalism schools. Oh, wow. oh, really? Here's my card. You should give it to her. So just literally anytime you want, like, talk to people. Like, I think that's one thing you can control, like what spaces you put yourself in. Like being here today, like, was a great first step. And literally grabbing someone, just, hey, I love your outfit, whatever. Just sparking up a conversation and creating lanes for yourself. So just hustling and hustling and hustling and pushing your brand. Like, you being here, you are a brand. So just pushing it out there to whoever will listen.
Yes. Thank you so much, everyone. And we've come to the end of our panel with the media. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you.